Guys, it's your girl again, Ami baby, your no stress queen. Clock it! Today I'm about to start my day in the market. Clock it, guys!
Amara, leave that thing you're doing. It will not bring food to our table. You still haven't sold anything yet.
Mama, soft girl like me, I don't like stress. Don't worry, when I become a celebrity, I will buy you the world.
Before we begin this emotional story, I want you to promise yourself one thing: never let fame, money, or social media make you forget the people who truly love you. Broken heart. Because the girl in this story thought going viral was the best thing that ever happened to her, until one night destroyed everything. Watch till the end, because this story might change the way you see social media forever. Amara did not own shoes that matched. One was black, one was brown, and both had holes near the toes. Every morning, she tied her wrapper tight around her waist, balanced a tray of groundnuts on her head, and walked the long dusty road to the market with a smile that was too big for someone carrying so much pain. The other hawkers laughed at her. The market women called her that foolish girl with the phone. Because no matter how hard the sun beat down on her back, no matter how tired her legs were, Amara always had her old cracked phone in her hand, recording everything, laughing at everything, turning her ordinary suffering into something she believed was extraordinary. People thought she was wasting her time. But Amara had a secret dream so big it could barely fit inside her chest. She lived with her mother, Mama Rose, in a small house with a leaking roof and a wooden door that never fully closed. Mama Rose was not a young woman anymore. Her hands were raw from years of washing other people's clothes, her back was always bent, and her eyes held the kind of tiredness that does not go away with sleep. But every night, she would sit beside Amara on their old mat and say the same words: "My daughter, God did not bring us this far to leave us here." Amara would nod, but inside she was already thinking about her next video, what angle to use, what caption to write, what funny moments from the market she could share with the world. She was not running away from home. She was building a door that would one day let both of them walk through to something better. Her videos were simple. She would film herself hawking groundnuts, making funny faces when customers bargained too hard, dancing when the rain came unexpected, or just talking to the camera like it was her best friend. Today, Mama Rose made soup with only 3 tomatoes and it tasted like a 5-star restaurant, she said once, laughing so hard her tray almost fell. People in the village found it strange. Children followed her sometimes, curious about the cracked phone she held up like a trophy. But nobody, not one single person, believed that what Amara was doing had any value. They saw a poor hawker playing with a phone. They did not see what Amara saw. They did not see the future. Then one Thursday afternoon, everything changed. Amara was walking back from the market, tired and sweaty, when a dog ran out of nowhere and knocked her tray completely off her head. Groundnuts flew into the air like confetti. The tray spun in the mud. Amara fell flat on her back, and the whole thing was caught on video by a passerby who had been recording something else. The clip spread before Amara even knew it existed. People shared it because of what happened next. Amara sat up from the mud, looked at her scattered groundnuts, looked at the camera, and burst into the loudest, most joyful laughter anyone had ever heard, as if falling in the mud was the funniest blessing she had ever received. That laughter. That one moment of joy in the middle of embarrassment. That was the video that changed Amara's life forever. Before this emotional story begins, please take 1 second to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell red heart. Because the stories we share here are not just for entertainment, they teach real-life lessons that many people learn too late. Now let's begin the heartbreaking story of the village girl who became famous online and lost almost everything. By the time Amara got home that evening, the video had 50,000 views. She did not know this yet. She was busy washing mud off her wrapper when her phone began buzzing, not once, not twice, but continuously, like something inside it had woken up and was trying to escape. Notifications flooded her screen. Comments. Shares. Tags. People she had never met were writing her name. Who is this girl? She is so real. I've watched this 20 times and I'm still laughing. Amara sat on the floor of their small house, her wet wrapper still dripping, staring at her phone with her mouth wide open. Mama Rose came to see what the noise was about. When Amara showed her, Mama Rose did not fully understand what was happening. But she saw her daughter's eyes, full of something bright and warm, and she knew, in the way only mothers know, that something important had just begun. By morning, the video had 500,000 views. By the next day, it crossed 1 million. Blogs reposted it. Influencers reacted to it. A popular comedian made a skit inspired by it. And suddenly, Amara's own TikTok page, which had only 300 followers before, began growing at a speed she could not track. 1,000. 10,000. 50,000. 100,000 followers in less than 2 weeks. Her phone became a living thing, always buzzing, always demanding her attention. People wanted more of her. They wanted to see the girl who laughed in the mud. They wanted to see her village, her mother, her market, her real life. And Amara, who had spent years dreaming of exactly this moment, gave them everything they asked for, with her whole heart. For the first time in her life, Amara received money she did not have to carry a tray to earn. Small brands started sending her messages, a soap company, a food seasoning brand, a phone accessories page. We love your energy. We want to work with you. She read those words so many times she memorized them. She screenshotted every message and saved it in a folder she titled, God is not sleeping. The payments were small at first, but to Amara, who sometimes went to bed eating only bread, it felt like a river of blessing had opened above her head. She bought Mama Rose a new wrapper. She fixed the wooden door. She patched 2 holes in the roof. She did not move anywhere yet. She was still the same Amara, laughing, posting, hawking, but now the whole world was watching. Mama Rose watched all of this with a heart that was half joy and half worry. She was proud, deeply, quietly proud. She told the neighbors, my daughter is on the internet, and she said it with her chin up and her eyes shining. But at night, when the house was quiet and Amara was still on her phone, Mama Rose would kneel on her mat and pray. She did not pray for the fame to go away. She prayed for something far more important. She prayed for Amara's heart to stay the same. Because Mama Rose had lived long enough to know one painful truth: what the world gives quickly, it takes back even faster. And she had seen too many young people shine brightly before burning completely out. She loved her daughter too much to celebrate without also being afraid. The invitation came in a white envelope delivered by a man in a clean shirt, the kind of clean that Amara had never personally owned. A major influencer agency in the city had seen her growth and wanted her to come for a collaboration week. Accommodation, transportation, and a daily allowance, all covered. Amara read the letter 4 times before she accepted it was real. She packed everything she owned into one bag, knelt before Mama Rose, and said, Mama, I am going to bring us out of this place. I promise. Mama Rose held her face in both hands for a long moment. She did not speak. She just looked at her daughter, really looked at her, as if she was memorizing every line of her face. Then she kissed her forehead and said softly, Don't forget where you came from, my daughter. That is the only thing I am asking. Amara smiled and nodded. She did not know she was making a promise she would almost fail to keep. The city was nothing like anything Amara had ever seen. The roads were wide and smooth. The buildings stood so tall she had to tilt her head all the way back to see their tops. Lights blinked everywhere, in shops, on billboards, from cars moving in every direction. The agency placed her in a beautiful apartment with air conditioning, a soft bed, and a bathroom that smelled like expensive soap. Amara walked through those rooms touching everything: the smooth walls, the glass windows, the clean white sheets, like she was afraid it would all disappear if she moved too fast. She video called Mama Rose from the bathroom and pointed the camera around, laughing and crying at the same time. Mama Rose laughed too, covering her mouth with her wrapper. It was the last happy call they would have for a very long time. The influencers she was introduced to were everything she had watched on her phone screen: glamorous, confident, always perfectly dressed, always laughing in that easy way that money teaches people to laugh. Their names were Tiana, Kike, and Busby, and they welcomed Amara warmly, too warmly, looking back. "You're the groundnut girl. We love you," they said, pulling her into photos, including her in videos, treating her like a rare and interesting thing they had just discovered. They took her to restaurants where one plate cost more than Mama Rose earned in a week. They took her to parties where the music shook the floor and the lights changed colors every second. They gave her clothes to wear and told her what to post and how to caption it. And Amara, who had never had real friends before, who had always been laughed at and left out, soaked up their attention like dry ground soaking up rain. It felt so good to finally belong somewhere. But belonging came with a price Amara did not read carefully. Slowly, almost without noticing, she began to change the way she saw things. Tiana told her, "Your village content is cute, but people are getting tired of poverty aesthetics." Kike said, "You need to upgrade your image if you want the big brands." Busby showed her analytics: bigger numbers, bigger audiences, bigger money, all tied to a lifestyle that looked nothing like Amara's real life. And instead of laughing it off the way the old Amara would have, she listened. She started buying clothes she couldn't afford. She started filming in places she was only visiting, not living. She started building a version of herself that looked successful, sounded successful, felt successful, even though deep inside, in the place where she still remembered the leaking roof and Mama Rose's rough hands, she knew she was building on sand. The first sign that something had gone wrong inside Amara came during a live video on a Tuesday afternoon. She was doing a Q&A session, thousands of people watching, comments flying up the screen, when someone typed, "Amara, we miss your groundnut videos. Show us your mama." A few weeks earlier, Amara would have smiled and called Mama Rose into the frame. But that day, she felt something new, an ugly rise in her chest: embarrassment. She laughed awkwardly and said, "Oh, I've moved past that era." The comment disappeared into the stream of thousands. But Amara noticed it. And the fact that she had felt shame about her own mother, even for just 1 second, should have been her warning. It wasn't. She kept scrolling. Then came the night Amara posted the video that would be remembered as the moment she crossed a line she could never fully uncross. It was a live stream with Tiana and Kike, laughing, joking, taking questions from viewers. Someone asked her to share a childhood memory. And instead of giving something real, something honest, Amara laughed and said, "My childhood. Oh, I don't have good memories. I was just a village girl selling groundnuts in the bush. No offense to village people, but I'm glad I escaped that life." The studio erupted in laughter. Tiana clapped. But in thousands of homes across the country, in village houses with leaking roofs and wooden doors, people who looked exactly like Amara's past felt something small and painful break inside them. And somewhere in one of those homes, a woman with rough hands and a tired back sat alone, watching her daughter on a cracked screen, and pressed her hand against her mouth so no one would hear her cry. His name was Raymond. He appeared in Amara's life like a perfectly timed advertisement, at exactly the moment when she was feeling most powerful and most alone. He was tall, well-dressed, and spoke in a way that made everything he said sound like a compliment. He showed up at one of Tiana's events, found his way to Amara's side, and spent the entire night making her feel like she was the most interesting person in every room. "You're different from these other influencers," he told her, leaning close so only she could hear. "You have something real. Something they can't manufacture." Amara laughed and looked away, pretending not to be affected. But she was. She was completely and instantly affected, because nobody, not in the city, not since she had become famous, had told her she was real. They told her she was entertaining. They told her she was valuable. But Raymond said real. And after months of performing for the world, real was the most beautiful word she had ever heard. He came around every day after that. He brought her food from restaurants she hadn't been to yet. He sat with her while she edited videos and gave opinions she didn't ask for but somehow enjoyed hearing. He introduced himself to her followers, casually, as if it just happened, and soon people were calling them a couple before either of them had used that word. Amara did not notice how quickly he had placed himself in the center of her life. She did not notice that he never talked about his own work or where his money came from. She did not notice that his questions, always warm, always casual, were slowly mapping out the geography of her private world, her passwords, her brand contracts, which emails she responded to, which deals she had signed. She did not notice any of it. Because Raymond had learned one important lesson that Amara had not yet learned: lonely and famous people are the easiest people in the world to deceive. Meanwhile, back in the village, Mama Rose was getting weaker. Her neighbors noticed it first. She was eating less, sleeping more, and her cough had grown into something heavier, something that shook her whole small body when it came. An older woman from the next compound started bringing her food. Another one came to check on her in the evenings. They all knew Amara was famous, they had seen her on their phones, and they all quietly wondered why the famous daughter had not come home, had not sent help, had not even called. Mama Rose never complained. When people asked, she smiled and said, "She's busy building something great. A mother must give her child wings and then let her fly." But her eyes told a different story. Her eyes said she was tired. Her eyes said she was scared. And her eyes said she was waiting for a call that was taking too long to come. Raymond knew about the mother. He had extracted that information carefully, the way a skilled person extracts a splinter, so gently that you don't feel it happening. He knew Amara felt guilty about Mama Rose, and he used that guilt like a lever. Whenever Amara seemed close to calling home, Raymond would create a distraction, a new event, a new plan, a new reason to stay in the city and keep moving forward. "You can't slow down now," he would say. "The moment you show weakness, the brands will move to the next person." And Amara, who was afraid of going back to poverty more than she was afraid of almost anything, would nod and put the phone away. She was so busy running toward a future she wanted that she did not notice she was also running away from the people who had already chosen her, long before she was famous. If this story is touching your heart already, don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below. Broken heart. Have you ever seen someone change completely because of money, fame, or bad friends? Keep watching, because Amara's biggest mistake has not even happened yet. Fame, Amara was learning, was not a stable floor. It was more like a boat on open water, comfortable when the weather was calm, terrifying when the storm came. And slowly, quietly, the storm was building. Her controversial skit about poor people had started drawing a different kind of comments, not laughter, but anger. A page with over 2 million followers had done a video calling Amara out. "This girl came from nothing and now she mocks people who look like her past self. This is not entertainment. This is betrayal." The video spread fast. Suddenly, the comment sections on Amara's page shifted. Words like fake, ashamed of her roots, don't support her, began appearing. Amara reported the post, blocked the accounts, and laughed it off on a live stream. But her hands were shaking when she was typing, and Raymond was the only one who noticed, and said nothing. The brands felt the shift before she did. One company sent a polite but firm email withdrawing from their upcoming campaign. Another brand simply went quiet, no responses, no calls. The agency that had originally invited her to the city called for a strategy meeting, where 3 people in expensive shirts sat across from her and used phrases like brand repositioning and content reassessment. Amara left the meeting and sat in her car, a leased car she had rented to appear successful, and looked at her reflection in the rearview mirror for a long, quiet moment. She looked different. Not older, exactly. Just harder. Like something soft inside her face had been slowly pressed out. She missed something she couldn't name. She didn't realize yet that what she missed was herself. It was during this fragile, cracking time that Amara made her worst decision. Raymond had been suggesting a particular kind of live stream for weeks, a no-filter, anything-goes format that some influencers were using to get massive viewership. People want unfiltered content, he said. Say what you really think. Be completely raw. That's where the viral moments happen. Amara hesitated. But she was desperate to reverse the numbers that were slowly slipping, desperate to get back the brands that were walking away, desperate to feel the power of going viral again. So she agreed. The live stream lasted 2 hours. It was chaotic, loud, at times cruel. She mocked public figures, shared rumors she had no business sharing, and laughed at things that were not funny. And Raymond was there the whole time, behind the camera, nodding, encouraging, guiding her deeper in. The next morning, clips from the live stream were everywhere. But not in the way Amara had hoped. Screenshots were being shared with red circles around the worst moments. Journalists were writing, "Has Amara lost her mind?" The influencers who had welcomed her, Tiana, Kike, Bosby, suddenly became very quiet on their pages. No tags. No replies. The party had ended and somehow Amara had not been told. She sat in her apartment, the same beautiful apartment that had once felt like a dream, and the silence around her was so thick and so heavy it was almost impossible to breathe through. Her phone, which had once never stopped buzzing, now felt like a cold stone in her hand. And downstairs, in the parking lot, Raymond was having a very long phone call that he had not told her about, with someone she had never met, discussing something she did not yet know. She did not see it coming. Nobody ever does. It was a quiet Sunday when a video appeared online from a source no one expected, an old man in the village with a basic phone and shaky hands. The video showed Mama Rose. She was sitting outside their small house, leaning against the wall with her eyes half closed. She looked thin. She looked exhausted. Her breathing was visible and unsteady. The old man's voice narrated in a cracked, emotional voice, "This is the mother of that famous girl on TikTok. She is sick. She is alone. Her daughter has not come home in months. She has not sent help. The woman who carried her, who sacrificed everything, she is sitting here alone, too weak to stand." The camera panned slowly to Mama Rose's hands, the same rough, overworked hands that had washed other people's clothes, that had cooked soup with 3 tomatoes and made it taste like love, that had pressed gently against Amara's face the morning she left for the city. Those hands, now resting still and helpless on her thin lap. The video reached 1 million views in under 3 hours. It reached 5 million by evening. Every major blog, every major influencer page, every news outlet picked it up. People cried in the comment sections. People tagged Amara directly. "How could you do this to your own mother? You mocked hawkers and your own mother is suffering. Fame took your eyes. Now look at what you left behind." It was a different kind of viral, not the warm, funny kind that had started Amara's journey. This was the cold, sharp kind. The kind that draws blood. Amara saw the video through a tag someone sent her. She watched it 3 times without blinking. She watched Mama Rose's chest rise and fall slowly. She watched those familiar hands. And something inside her, something she had been pressing down and covering up and pretending didn't exist, broke completely open like a dam that had held too much water for too long. She was still sitting with tears on her face and her hand pressed over her mouth when her phone rang. It was not Mama Rose. It was a number she didn't recognize. She answered. It was a journalist. "Miss Amara, can you comment on the video of your mother that's currently trending?" She hung up. The phone rang again. Another number. Then another. Then her notification bar turned into a wall of noise, comments, tags, reposts, news articles. She stood up and walked to the window and looked out at the city lights she had once found so beautiful. And for the first time, she saw them for what they really were, just lights. Cold, impersonal, indifferent lights that did not care whether she was happy or broken or lost. They just kept blinking. The city did not know her name. It only knew her numbers. And right now, her numbers were burning. That same night, as if the universe had decided that one wound was not enough, the second blow came. A faceless account posted a link. Then another. Then 10 more. Then it was everywhere. A private video, one she had never intended for anyone to see, had been leaked. Her face. Her voice. Her private moments. And at the bottom of the post, almost casually, like a man dropping a stone into water and walking away, was Raymond's username. Not his real name, but his content page, where he had been quietly building his own following on the side. The caption he wrote was 3 words, exclusive. You're welcome. He had planned this. He had been waiting for exactly the right moment, when she was already falling, to push her the rest of the way down. The next 48 hours were the longest of Amara's life. She did not sleep. She did not eat. She sat in her apartment, the least apartment she could no longer afford, and watched her entire world disassemble itself piece by piece on a small screen. The brands issued statements. One by one, we have decided to discontinue our partnership with Amara effective immediately. The agency sent a formal email terminating her contract. Tiana posted a video with a soft, practiced expression and said, I have to distance myself from situations that don't align with my values, without mentioning Amara by name, but everyone knew. Kike stopped following her. Bosby removed every video they had collaborated on from his page. The apartment had a 30-day notice period. The leased car needed to go back. Everything she had built, the image, the partnerships, the lifestyle, was dissolving like sugar left out in the rain. The online abuse was relentless. People who had once called her their favorite creator were now the ones writing the cruelest things. She deserved everything she got. Karma doesn't forget. God punished her for abandoning her mother. Meme pages turned her face into a punchline. Comedy skits were made about her fall. Someone created a compilation of every moment she had mocked poor people, every video, every skit, every careless laugh, and set it side by side with the video of Mama Rose sitting alone against the wall. That video had 30 million views. 30 million people watching the distance between who Amara had been and who she had become. She could not escape it. Every corner of the internet had her name in it. Every time was the wrong time to look at her phone. And yet she kept looking, the way a person who has been hurt keeps pressing the bruise, not because it helps, but because at least the pain is proof that something real is still happening. But underneath the public destruction, something even more painful was happening inside Amara, something nobody was posting about or commenting on. She was thinking about Mama Rose. Not the Mama Rose in the viral video, but the real one. The one who woke up early every morning and sang quietly in the kitchen. The one who saved the best piece of meat in the pot and always said it was because she wasn't hungry when really it was because she wanted Amara to have it. The one who mended Amara's school uniform 4 times without complaining, who walked extra miles to save bus fare so there would be money for Amara's exam fees, who prayed on her knees every single night for a daughter who had slowly stopped deserving it. Amara sat in her empty apartment and thought about all of those things, and the tears that came were not the hot, angry tears of someone humiliated. They were the slow, heavy tears of someone who finally understood what they had done. She made one phone call. Just one. She held her breath and dialed the number she had been declining for months. It rang once. Twice. 3 times. Her heart climbed into her throat. 4 times. Then, a voice. Not Mama Rose. A neighbor woman. Amara. The woman's voice was careful and low. Your mother has been sick. Seriously sick. She has been asking for you. A long pause. She said to tell you, if you ever call, that she is not angry. She said to tell you she loves you and she is waiting. Amara's body folded in on itself. She slid from the chair to the floor. And she made a sound that had been building inside her for months, not a scream, not a cry exactly, something older and deeper than both. The sound of someone who had traveled very far in the wrong direction, and had finally, turned around. She came back the way she had left, with one bag. But this bag was lighter. No fancy clothes. No ring light or tripod. No products from brand deals. Just her old things, quietly repacked, and a heart so full of regret it felt physical, like something lodged in her chest that she would have to learn to breathe around. The driver dropped her at the edge of the village as the sun was going down. She walked the rest of the way herself, past the market where she used to hawk groundnuts, past the women who had once laughed at her and her cracked phone. They saw her. Some looked away. Some watched. Nobody said anything. The village held its breath as she walked through it, and Amara, who had once dreamed of the whole world knowing her name, would have given everything she had ever gained just to walk that road invisible and unknown. The house looked smaller than she remembered. Or maybe she had just imagined it bigger in the months she was away. The wooden door was still the same, she could see the patch she had paid to fix was now coming loose again. A neighbor woman sat on the step outside, and when she saw Amara coming, she stood up slowly and moved aside without a word. Amara pushed open the door. The room was dim and warm and smelled like the particular smell of home that you never notice when you're inside it every day but never forget once you've been away. Mama Rose was on the bed, a low mud bed in the corner, covered with a thin cloth, her eyes closed. She looked smaller too. Smaller and quieter and too still. Amara crossed the room in 4 steps and knelt down beside the bed. She did not say anything at first. She just took Mama Rose's hand, those rough, familiar, irreplaceable hands, and held it gently in both of hers. Mama Rose stirred. Her eyes opened slowly. And when she saw Amara's face, red and swollen and wet with tears, she did not gasp. She did not scold. She did not say, "I told you so," the way she absolutely had the right to. She just looked at her daughter for a long, quiet moment, and then the most extraordinary thing happened. Mama Rose smiled. Not a small, cautious smile. A real one, wide and warm and completely, utterly without bitterness. "You came back," she whispered. Those 2 words. That was all. As if the months of silence, the missed calls, the viral video, the shame, the sickness, the loneliness, all of it, was already forgiven in those 2 words. "Mama, I'm sorry," Amara said, and her voice broke on the last word like a stick snapped clean. "I forgot who I was. I forgot who you were. I forgot everything that mattered." She pressed her forehead against her mother's hand and cried, the kind of crying that cleans something out. Mama Rose's other hand moved slowly to the top of Amara's head, and she stroked her hair the way she used to when Amara was a small girl and the world felt too big. "You didn't forget," Mama Rose said softly. "You just got lost. And every person who gets lost can find their way back, as long as they're not too proud to turn around." Outside, the sun finished setting. The village grew dark and quiet. And inside that small house with the slightly broken door and the patched roof and the smell of home, 2 women held onto each other in the dark, one who had almost broken, and one who had never stopped believing she wouldn't. Here is the ending that nobody saw coming, the one that the internet, in all its noise, managed to miss. 3 weeks after Amara returned home, she picked up her cracked phone again. Not the new one she had bought in the city. The original one, the one with the broken screen protector and the camera that sometimes tilted slightly to the left. She went to the market, tied her wrapper, balanced a small tray on her head, not of groundnuts this time, but of boiled corn Mama Rose had prepared, and she pressed record. She didn't speak for the first few seconds. She just showed the road, the morning light, the familiar dust, the sound of the market waking up. Then she turned the camera on herself and said, quietly, with no music and no filter, I was somebody before the followers. I forgot that. I'm remembering now. She posted it. She went to sell the corn. She did not check her phone until evening. By then, the video had 20 million views. And this time, every single comment was crying. Fame is loud. But love, the real kind, waits quietly. And it is always the quiet things that last. If this story taught you something, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with someone you care about. Red Heart. Because in today's world, many people are chasing fame and forgetting the people who truly love them. And remember, fame can make people know your name, but only love will stay when everything else disappears.